in One Nation to another episode of the Hive podcast. TJ Winger today, joined by fifth-year student Stephanie Burnett. Steph, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So, we're continuing our theme for the week, cross-country runners. I talked to Brennan the other day. That episode came out on Tuesday. You get to come out on Thursday, right as y'all are in Louisville, beginning your days leading up to Nationals. And we'll start right there with the headline. What is it like getting to go and compete at Nationals?
It's definitely super exciting. 2 years ago, I had the chance to go and run. It was Max and I. But this year is so much more and so much more exciting because we get to bring two full teams, and that is something I never imagined.
And what does that mean to you in this program overall, right? You go from every year there's some individuals competing to now it's, hey, first time since 2012 the entire men's team's going, first time since 1996 the women's side's going. That's an awesome step forward for where this program continues to build.
It's definitely so exciting coming in as a freshman. Like, our goal back then was just to try to win cross-country ODACs as a team. And then this year to win cross-country ODACs, but then to go as a team to Nationals is something like little freshman me is like, wow, we did it. So I'm definitely so excited to be there with the girls.
Well, talking about you as a freshman and the team success, I think a big part of y'all's overall team success, right? All 6 all-region runners this past weekend in Spartanburg. The freshman emergence, you guys have gotten some really quality young runners. Allison Dell comes to mind. And can you kind of talk about what that has done to kind of bolster this team and make it on a national scale very competitive?
Yeah, absolutely. So coming in, we knew that we were going to have a young team. At first, it was just going to be me returning, and then we had a couple juniors, but we know we needed those other people. And Allison, like you mentioned, and Sarah, really, they came out there and they showed. Also feel bad. Shout out to Lauren and Cody. But no, like Sarah and Allison really stepped up the plate and were always positive at practice and are ready to do the workouts thrown their way. And when coach puts like training groups together, they're ready to train with them and they just have their eye on the prize. And I'm glad that we get into them and to see what they do the next few years when I'm gone.
No doubt about it. So, kind of alluded to it here. You're a fifth year. This is your final go at it. But because of that, you're also in grad school. So let's talk a little bit about what are you studying?
I'm getting my master's in business administration.
There you go.
I was an undergrad in management, so still similar things, but yeah.
A linear next step forward. So obviously that is probably very comprehensive in its own right. I have just got to know what it's like to be going and getting a grad degree while moving up and down the entire East Coast. Y'all have been in Spartanburg, you've been in Louisville now twice, you guys have been in Charlotte, you've been across the road to Randolph even, you guys, it feels like been everywhere. How do you try to balance all the travel on top of everything that comes with getting a grad degree?
One thing that our team is pretty good about is we always pack our schoolwork with us, especially like today we're leaving Wednesday and not coming back till Saturday. And we might not have a whole lot of time, but if we have like a free minute, we'll try to use it. So our team's been really good about that. And plus, I am fortunate where I only take 2 classes at a time. So for the fall semester, I've had 4 total, but it was 2 the first half and 2 the second half. So I have been very fortunate. That has not been a full class load.
That makes it seem a little more manageable, but I'm sure plenty of hard work on your end as well. That's fantastic. Now let's transition to talk about the guy at the helm of the program, Jake Reed. He is a very interesting character. He's always easy to talk to, and he's a good time. But I'd love to know from a player's perspective, what has he done to help make you a better runner? And just overall, what is he like as a person?
Yeah, so coming in or being a high schooler, I never really imagined running in high school. And then I got the chance to talk to Coach Reed and some other people that were recruiting at the time. And it definitely, he changed my world, like being able to run. He cares about this program and he cares about us as people and not just as athletes. Like, his door is always open. Like, if an athlete needs to be in there for personal reasons or for academics or for running or just anything, his door is always open. And he is dedicated, like I said, to us as people, but also as the program, and he's been there one step of the way and has just pushed us to be better athletes. And if we think, we're like, coach, like, we don't really agree with this training, he'll explain to us what's going on or what the training's actually doing, or just really, like, help us understand what he's thinking. And look, he's got 2 teams going to nationals, so he's doing a pretty good job.
No doubt about it. And now let's go back to talking about nationals. And Brett and I were talking off before we recorded. That atmosphere seems intense. He went a couple years back when Max Sparks, ran and just took videos in that place, jumping. How different of an atmosphere is it there versus what you're used to, maybe between ODACs or even regionals for that matter?
Like Brennan said, so 2 years ago it was absolutely wild to walk in there, and there's just teams on teams, and plus any team that was fortunate enough to bring like their extra team or like things like that. Like, you have people, it's freezing out there, it was rainy, but you had people with their shirts off and their bellies painted, and it was just so exciting. And like, the ODAC is so small, and then going from the ODACs to regions and nationals, and seeing just like the fan base of even our team, but just other teams as well, it's just so crazy, and the atmosphere is like no other.
It's kind of like a football environment at that point. That's really awesome. Does that at all change or play an effect while you're on the course and while you're running compared to, maybe what you've done in the regular season or leading up to ODACs? Or is it just, hey, once I'm in motion, my mind is focused on that?
A little bit of both. Like, there are most parts, you're pretty focused in, but if you have like a whole bunch of people screaming at you with their teammate right next to you, it's a little intimidating. But for me personally, I just kind of use that, and I'm like, let's like show this team that, or show like their team that I can do it. Even though they're cheering for them, I'm about to go beat them.
Use it as a chip on your shoulder. I like the way you think. So, what are some of the goals you think should be set for this weekend? What are you hoping for yourself and for the team overall?
Like you mentioned before, this is the first time, or the second time we've been, the first time in a long time. I think we're just trying to see like if we can beat the placement they had back then. It's obviously been so long. It's completely different people, completely different coaches, like training, things like that, and we just want to see what we can go and do. And personally, I just hope to get a season PR, maybe a PR, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, what would that time be?
So regionals 2 years ago was a 21:40, but this year my season PR is like a 22:40.
So 22:40, 21:40. Those are the times we're looking out for.
We're
for
hoping for the best.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today, Steph. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's going to do it for this episode of the Hive Podcast. Before next week when we have a new episode for you, my name's CJ Winger. Her name's Stephanie Burnett. Until next time, we are signing off.